Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my 2026 BookTube Prize Quarterfinals TBR video. We are into round 2 of the BookTube Prize, a very exciting time, and I'm continuing with nonfiction. But anyway, to give a little bit of a primer here, the BookTube Prize was started by Robert Sheard back in 2019 as a way for the literary bookternet, particularly on BookTube, to judge the best in literary fiction and nonfiction published in the US the year before in English. So this year we are reading 2025 releases. And the BookTube Prize has been going on for several years. I think this is the 8th year, and I've been judging myself in an official capacity since 2020. And it's a wonderful way to, read books outside of my comfort zone and be more part of the community. It's been really great. Anyway, we actually start with long lists of 48 books per division, and then we whittled them down through 4 rounds until we get to winners and runners-up at the end of the year, or closer to the end of the year anyway. Now we're still relatively in the beginning of the year and only beginning round 2, which is the quarterfinals. And as I mentioned, I am judging in the nonfiction round. I am judging Group A. But before I get into more of that stuff, I'm going to do a quick stats update, which is largely just for me, I think. I just find it really fun. Because back in January, Robert sent all of us contenders for the long lists in fiction and nonfiction, based on what we signed up to vote for, and or judge for, and I signed up to judge for both. And so I have lists of both, and we were allowed to vote for up to 20 books per division. So that's what I did. And then of all of our community votes, Robert crafted the long lists. So going into the octafinals in nonfiction, 15 of the 20 books I voted for made it onto the long list. And in fiction, 13 of the 20 books I voted for made it onto the long list. And now, one round in, where we've halved both of our divisions, for both of these divisions, only 7 books remain out of the 20, although that still seems like a decent amount given where we are right now. I have to say, out of all the books that were deleted from the rounds, as it were, I am most surprised by One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Omar El-Akkad. Frankly, I thought that book would have won the overall prize. In fact, I even wrote a post about some of the fiction and nonfiction books, that stood out to me, and so I put that on the list, and I, made the grand prediction that it would win the overall prize, and I don't think I've ever been so off course before. What do you know? Otherwise, I don't know. Nothing in, I think, fiction makes it close in my mind. I mean, I'm not surprised that Dream Count by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is no longer on the list, although I have read it just recently. Audition by Katie Kitamura is not on the list, even though I think it was highly regarded in other literary circles. But anyway, that's where we are right now. Meanwhile, there are certainly plenty of good books still remaining in the prize, and I'm about to embark on reading 5 new ones. Frankly speaking, I was quite surprised that I was put into Group A because I judged nonfiction for the octafinals, so that means that I've read 3 of the books that advanced to the quarterfinals. Those 3 books were put in groups A, C, and D, so I immediately thought the algorithm would put me in Group B, but it didn't. It put me in Group A. And so it means I only have to read 5 new books, but frankly, I'm kind of glad about that because some of these new books are pretty chunky. So before I give my preliminary thoughts, I'm going to grace you with a quick montage of all of the covers, starting now. All right, well, now that you've seen all the covers up and close, I'll give my quick preliminary pre-reading thoughts for, well, 5 of them anyway. One of them won't be preliminary thoughts because Is a River Alive is back on my ballot. And I just read this book for the Octafinals. I really enjoyed it. I put it in first place. I think it was really beautiful and ruminative. It's the type of science writing that can appeal to me on the less sciencey side of things. McFarlane gets into rather spiritual commentary on how he interacts with the natural world, and he went to 3 locations. He went to one in Ecuador, he went to one in Chennai, India, and went to one in the Grand Rapids in Canada. He was going to look at waterways and rivers, particularly to ask the question, are rivers alive? And I highlighted in my reviews video how he, interacted with a lot of people, and how the rivers and other natural wonders brought a lot of, healing to their lives. And certainly it brought a lot of spirituality, I think, to his life. Another thing he was doing and highlighting in this book was talking about political angles and how, there are some corporate agendas to put these rivers and other environmental ecosystems in jeopardy, and the steps that, the people he's interacting with are taking to protect these locations. So there's a lot going on. It's a really beautiful and moving book, and I'm glad it's still in the running. The other books I know very little about, but I'm going to start with America, America by Greg Grandin. It's one of the largest books. Actually, I think it is the largest book at 768 pages. And it's going to be, I think, a pretty epic undertaking of looking at the history of all of the Americas, North America, Central America, South America, maybe decentralizing the United States a little bit and North America a bit, and seeing how all of these locations have interacted with each other historically. So I'm very excited for that. As for the remaining 4 books, there's a little bit of a theme to them. This ballot is a little less diverse, I think, than my Octafinals ballot, but still has some strong stuff in here. I'll go first with, broadly touching upon Black American history. We have the biography of James Baldwin called Baldwin by Nicholas Boggs, which is my second largest book at 720 pages, and one I voted for to make it onto, the BookTube prize. So, I reap what I sow here. And I am excited to get to this book. I've really been intrigued more and more by biographies, and they've been working for me more and more. And James Baldwin is a renowned writer, and as a reader, I appreciate that and want to know more about him. The other, broadly speaking, Black American social book is The Afterlife of Malcolm X by Mark Whitaker, which I think will take a pretty unique look at things, because it's not a biography of Malcolm X exactly. It's more about the influence he's had on culture past his death. And so that'll be intriguing in and of itself. It's like a way to look at someone's legacy, and certainly he has a big one. And finally, the final 2 books are both memoirs, and they're both by, victims of sexual abuse. And so really harrowing but important reading topics, I think. We have Not My Type by E. Jean Carroll, who accused the president of sexual misconduct. And so I feel like this might be a very invigorating book talk about speaking truth to power, because this is the most powerful man in the country. And I really am intrigued to actually hear her full story from her voice. And the final book is perhaps a little less uplifting, or at least I guess I'm hoping the E. Jean Carroll book will be uplifting, but the final one is Nobody's Girl by Virginia Roberts Giuffre, and it'll be less uplifting because sadly this book was published posthumously after she died. This is her book where she brings her suit against Jeffrey Epstein as one of his victims. And, it's something I don't know much about. Jeffrey Epstein, of course, is, a boogeyman figure, rightly so, but I really only know the broad details. I know very little about the actual victims and what they went through. And to know that this victim is no longer with us is just quite tragic, and I wonder if it is aiding into the book's popularity. Maybe that's something for me to look out for in terms of bias, but I do feel like it's important to understand these sorts of stories and, the ways that, people have been victimized, and to bring the people who victimized them to account. And more importantly, even perhaps, for them to have some agency back, even if it's after death. So, Yeah, that is my ballot. We have some heavy hitters and some things that I think are going to be challenging or thought-provoking or gut-wrenching. Hopefully all well written and get the point across. But for now, I'm going to officially zip my lips, because a major thing about being an official judge is that we don't share our thoughts so that we don't, influence each other. And I'll be back to rank and review these books officially when the round ends in early June. So that about covers it for me now. I will leave the Goodreads links for all 6 of these books down below in case you're interested. And I'll also leave a link to the BookTube Prize website and the recent announcement of all of the books that made it into the quarterfinals. I'd love to hear your thoughts about any of these books, although maybe I wouldn't, to keep myself as unbiased as possible. Admittedly, I'm so excited to see all the videos that judges are posting of what they thought of the octafinals, but I'm trying to skip past all of the books currently on my ballot for the quarterfinals. I'm trying to keep myself maybe as least biased as possible. So now I'm just sort of repelling comments, I suppose. But I hope for all of you who are participating in the quarterfinals that you're excited about your ballots, and I will certainly be looking forward to your thoughts at the end of the round. Anyway, you can expect me back on this channel in the near future as I do a March reading wrap-up for all of my non-BookTube Prize reading, so stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.